Good evening. Welcome to World Now on Hills TV. I am Jessica Magaji Joseph. First, the headlines. Federal government projects massive food price crash January. Federal government to acquire 2,000 tractors, 1,000 trailers. Kenya president dismisses all cabinet ministers after weeks of protest. And in sport, Nigeria faced Kenya in bilateral series. Now the news in detail. The federal government on Wednesday declared that with the strategic measures aimed at addressing the high food price nationwide, prices of the items would crash in the next 180 days. It said the measures, which include the suspension of duties, tariffs and taxes for the importation of certain food commodities through land and sea borders, as well as the importation of 50,000 metric tons of wheat and maize, would tackle the rise in food prices. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abuja, who disclosed this on his official X handle on Wednesday, explained that the imported food commodities would be subjected to a recommended retail price to maintain the required and acceptable standard. The Federal Executive Council has approved the purchase of 2,000 tractors, 4,000 disc plows and 1,200 tractor trailers, among other equipment, under the National Agricultural Mechanization Program. Presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga took to X on Wednesday, saying that the equipment will be supplied by a firm which is also planning to set up assembly plants for some of this equipment in the country. In addition, the federal government said it will engage stakeholders to get a guaranteed minimum price for commodities, ramp up production, especially among smallholder farmers in the 2024-2025 farming season, to promote production of fortified foods, commodities, and others. Let's have you know that the House of Representatives has urged the federal government to make provision for the adequate funding of equipment and training of police personnel in the country. The lawmakers also resolved to investigate the standoff between the Police Service Commission and the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, over the 2024 police recruitment. The lawmakers' resolution was sequel to the adoption of a motion on urgent public importance moved by the member representing Ogbia Federal Constituency, Bayelsa State, during Thursday plenary. When we return, news from other parts of Africa. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Kenya President William Ruto on Thursday dismissed all of his cabinet ministers and promised to form a new government that will be lean and efficient following weeks of protests over high taxes and poor governance. In a televised address, the president also dismissed the Attorney General and said ministries would be run by their permanent secretaries. Ruto said he made the move after listening to the people and that he would form a broad-based government after consultations. The military junta captain Ibrahim in Burkina Faso has approved a revised family code that criminalizes homosexuality. This decision makes Burkina Faso one of the 22 out of 54 African countries that do not allow same-sex relationships with severe penalties such as death or long prison sentences in some regions. The council approved a decree for the new personnel and family code that enshrines the ban on homosexuality in the country. The presidency announced in a statement. Although the specific penalties were not outlined and the text is yet to be approved by the deputies of the Transitional Legislative Assembly, Burkina Faso may now join the rank of Uganda and enacted one of the harshest anti-LGBTQ laws globally in May of last year. We move to other parts of the world after this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The US and other Western governments criticized the controversial security bill in South Sudan that would allow the government to detain people without warrants, saying it will undermine open political and civil space ahead of the country's elections. The security bill, which passed Parliament July 3rd, has threatened the collapse of ongoing peace talks and prompted fears of arbitrary arrest ahead of the country's first ever elections on December 22. President Salva has 30 days to approve or veto the law. 9 Western envoys, including representatives of the US and Britain, said Wednesday that the signing of the bill would constitute a significant step away from the opening of political and civil space, which is prerequisite of genuine and peaceful elections to take place. The diplomat said South Sudanese should have the right to participate freely in political and civic expression without fear of arbitrary arrest or intimidation by security personnel. Let's have it known that speaking at the BRICS Parliamentary Forum in St. Petersburg, Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday accused the West of attempting to maintain a monopoly. The group, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, welcomed 5 new members in January, including Iran and Egypt. Putin said that by acting together, BRICS countries would achieve a safer and more harmonious world. Let's have you know that British Prime Minister Keir News government will widen the early release of prisoners to tackle an overcrowding crisis that has left jails within weeks of running out of space, prison governors said on Thursday. Britain's Prisons Governors Association said in a statement to media that it has been reliably informed that rules would change on Friday so that most inmates would serve only 40% of their sentences behind bars, down from a typical 50% at present. Prisoners who are released are meant to be supervised by probation officers and can be returned to jail if they reoffend or break other terms of their release. The changes to release dates will create essential space across the prison system, the Prison Governors Association said in a statement. Up next is business. Please stay with us.
This is Hills TV. Quality broadcasting is what we'll bring to you. Now we be this
Hills TV, Poker.
Welcome back. On business, the United States Agency for International Development and the Nigerian Federal Ministry of Power signed a memorandum of understanding to unlock 115 billion naira investment in the country to tackle electricity challenges. In a statement on Wednesday by the Power Ministry, the MOU was signed by USAID's Nigeria Mission Director Melissa Jones and the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Power, Mahmouda Maman. Accordingly, the investment is part of a U.S. government grant-funded technical assistance program intended to support power sector development and reforms in Nigeria. Speaking on the investment in Nigeria, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, expressed gratitude for USAID's continued support towards ending Nigeria's power sector challenges. The Enugu State Internal Revenue has issued a stern warning to imposters against issuance of fake receipts to taxpayers in the state. The Executive Chairman, Emmanuel Namani, issued this warning in a statement on Thursday in Enugu State, saying that impersonation was a criminal offense. Namani said the printed notice for capital gains tax dated July 2nd, requesting taxpayers to pay into personal account was not an official communication from the organization. He disclosed that the plot was aimed at defrauding taxpayers in Enugu State by impersonation of the organization. The chairman said the statement became necessary to expose fraudulent imposters claiming to be working for ESIRS by issuing fake notice and receipts with a falsified letter-headed paper receipt and others targeting Nsukka axis. The World Bank has said that the consequences of abstainism on public expenditure in health and education sectors combined can be as high as 34%. This was revealed in the latest World Bank's Human Capital Public Expenditure and Institutional Review on Nigeria. The report indicated that the country's public expenditure on health and education was below par. The World Bank Service Delivery Indicator Survey stated that on average, 13.7% of teachers were found to be absent from school. Still to come, sports. Please stay with us. Welcome back. And in sport, Nigeria's male senior cricket team, the Yellow Greens, are in Kenya to take on Timbers in a 7-day bilateral series from Friday, July 12th to July 20th. The series will be played in T20 and ODIs formats with 5 games in the former and 2 games in the latter. The Nigeria Cricket Federation on Wednesday released the 15-man squad for the series with Captain Sylvester Okpe being joined by the trio Isaac Okpe and Isaac Danladi and Emmanuel Odekwe, who are currently engaged in the Zimbabwe National Premier League. The Kenya-Nigerian bilateral series is the first major assignment of the Yellow Greens since they featured at the 2023 African Games earlier this year. England is set to take on Spain in the 2024 European Championship final at the Olympia Stadium in Berlin, Germany on Sunday, July 14th. The tournament, which started on June 14, has featured 51 games, including 36 in the group stage and 15 in the knockout rounds. England is looking to end their 58-year trophy drought, while Spain hopes to add to their collection with a 4th Euro Championship title. In December 2023, the UEFA Executive Committee approved the prize money distribution system for the teams participating in the tournament. After spending over a decade bogged down in disappointment, Spain worked their way back to football's peak by reaching Sunday's Euro 2024 final in Berlin. Winning 2 European Championships in 2008 and 2012, either side of their 2010 World Cup triumph, La Roja were set to dominate football for years to come. However, they fell from grace at astonishing speed. The players destined to replace their golden generation fell desperately short. Spain's 2014 World Cup defense ended in early humiliation, battered 5-1 by the Netherlands, crashing out in the group stage. And that's the sport news now. Back to the rest of the news after this break.
This is Hills TV. What?
Welcome back. Minimum wage consultation between the organized labor and President Bola Tinubu have again adjourned without a conclusive agreement. The meeting, called at the instance of the President, Bola Tinubu, has just ended with no meaningful resolutions reached. The labor leaders who emerged from the meeting, however, told reporters that the consultation with the presidency will continue next week, as they also have to go back to their organs to relay with what the president discussed with them. President of Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajaero, said the positions of 250,000 naira for Labour and 62,000 naira for the federal government still stands. And that's World Now on Hills TV. But before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that federal government projects massive food price crash January. Federal government to acquire 2,000 tractors, 1,000 trailers. Kenya president dismisses all cabinet ministers after a week of protests. And on sports, Nigeria faced Kenya in bilateral series. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Hills TV Abuja, Instagram at Hills TV Abuja, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hills TV. I am Jessica Magaji Joseph. Thanks for watching.